also think here, yeah, I've got a JTAC unit set up from a previous mission where we had to destroy a helicopter FOB base. So I had some heliports here, so on and so forth. And then this guy here was used as JTAC. I haven't currently got any JTAC set up against red units at the moment, but just to give you an idea, setting JTAC up is a little bit ticklish. The first thing is, when you're setting JTAC units up, you've got to have them pretty much super close to the enemy unit. So I had a bunch of enemy units along this road here, so you can see that if I use the measuring, yeah, you can see there that my JTAC was like only 80 feet away from here. Okay, now that's not a problem. Let's just bring him up. Here we go. That's not a problem, again, if you make them invisible and immortal. So basically setting up JTAC. Let's go edit. So the first command is EPLRS, and I can't remember for the life in me what that is, but you've got to. Oh, that's right. It's the communication net. Yeah, for communicating JTAC. So that's the first thing, is you need EPLRS. Okay, the next thing is you want weapon hold. Like, you don't want JTAC firing on enemy units and then, you know, them firing back and blowing it to pieces. So weapon hold, invisible, immortal, and then the next thing is you set his call sign. So I chose Axeman out of them all. So Axeman. The next thing you do is set his JTAC frequency. So I always set my JTAC frequencies to 131 AM with a power of 10. And then this is the most important. Okay. Assign a group to layers. So I'm just going to leave this for a second. The weapon is set to auto. Designation is laser. Data link. Again, you repeat the call sign Axeman, and the frequency again. You have to repeat. Now here you can allocate enemy groups. So let's go unarmed 4, and as you can see, it's now drawn a blue line of sight all the way down here to Unit 4. And there you can see it's JTAC's triangle. Now, obviously, there is no way in the world that JTAC is going to be able to see that. Okay, but again, this is just to show you what would happen. Actually, why don't I do this? Why don't I go nothing? Why don't I put down an enemy unit? So let's grab a Russian BTR 80, and let's call it target 1. Let's plonk it down there. Wallop. Okay, so target 1, Russian armor, BTR, skill crap. Okay, player can drive. No. Okay. All right. So now what we let me delete that. I don't want to. If I actually wanted to put waypoints for this dude, I could add waypoints. He's going to start on road, and his initial facing will be up that way. So if we zoom in, yeah, there he is. Okay, so I could add a waypoint to there, keeping that on road, and yeah, he'll sort of start at the beginning. I could actually delay. I could actually, oops, let me delete that. I don't want to do that. I'll go back to edit. So he starts at 9 o'clock and moves from there to there when the mission starts. What I could do is say, now he's going to hang in there, and he's not going to move until 9:30. So he'll still stay there till 9:30, and then he'll move up to there. Okay, so let's go back to our JTAC dude. We need to assign a group, so I'm going to edit this, and we should find, there it is, target 1. And so it's as simple as that. Well, technically speaking, it's as simple as that. So basically, my guys can call a Paxman on 131, and we normally contact JTAC about 25 miles out of the target, and he will then laze onto this BTR, so that guys can either use the laser-guided bombs or the laser-guided Mavericks. Okay, all right. So I'm actually just going to delete that. Yeah, because I don't want that. That was just to give you a heads up on JTAC. Okay, so here are my ground units, as I say. Okay, now let me just go back to alternate rather than satellite. For me, the hardest thing for missions is allocating the AI cap. And one of the problems is that sometimes I get guys who give me a very short notice, usually on the night, saying, hey, look, I'm available for the campaign mission tonight. Can you put me down for a Hornet? And, you know, rather than say, no, everything's set, what I do is I customize the cap, sometimes even, you know, 10 minutes before we start the mission, because the cap really has to be matched to the players. So with the current bunch of guys that I've got, I generally use what I call middle echelon aircraft. In other words, I don't use any of the SU modern fighters because they've all got really good air-to-air capabilities. I tend to use the MiG 31s, the 21s, the 23s. I don't use MiG 29s, and I exclusively use short-range air-to-air missiles with them. So just to give you a bit of an idea, let me go here and bring up these two guys. Okay, so what we've got here is a couple of MiG-23s, worn out ones. Now I can tweak these, obviously. You know, I can leave them without chaff and flare. I could even leave them with only 20% gun capability, so you know I can go 30 and 30, and I can do the same for the other. I could go 30, 30, and 50%. So, you know, all these are just little tweaks that I can use. Let's go to satellite, and there they are. I exclusively make all my AI pilot skills average. Now, you know, I am pretty much convinced that if I varied it, or, you know, push them all up a couple of levels, I wouldn't get as many people, because, you know, a lot of these guys only fly once a week, maybe twice a week, and they, you know, they can quite easily get frustrated by, you know, being killed every 2 minutes by, you know, superior enemy AI. And this is a thing, just by the by, that I found when I was playing Arma 3 with these Acer guys. I'm not a great Arma 3 player by any means, and just sometimes in missions, like, you know, you'd spawn in, like 3 minutes later you get shot, you got to stay in purgatory for another 5 minutes or whatever, you get out of there, 3 minutes later you get shot again, and, you know, you spend half the night in purgatory. So, you know, I definitely err on the side of caution when putting these units down. So basically, yeah. All right. So here's the advanced waypoint actions for these guys. They're cap, weapons free, and they will RTB on bingo fuel, or they'll RTB when they're out of ammo. And I've got some waypoints for them. So they basically, these dudes are going to fly to here, down to 2, to 3, to 4, and then they're just going to loiter there until they, yeah, you know, until they RTB. And they'll be at 4,000 feet. Okay, so these guys are actually going to spawn in right at the start of the mission. Okay, now I've got another 1, 2, another 3 groups. So there are 2 ways of handling other groups of fighters. So in other words, here 2 MiGs are going to take off at the beginning of the mission. Now if I've got 4 cap guys, they're going to hopefully see those off pretty quickly. So the next problem is, how do I keep them engaged? Because basically what's happening with the ground pounder guys is they're going in, hitting the target, expending their ammunition, flying back to either Novorossiysk or back to the carrier if they want to practice their carrier landings, rearming, going back in again, hitting, so on and so forth. So, you know, I can keep these guys occupied for, you know, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you know. But the problem is with the cap guys, how do I, like, you know, some of them will be carrying 3 tanks of fuel, some of them maybe only carrying 1, some will be using the tankers for refueling to keep in the air. So, you know, how do I mitigate this? I've found the easiest thing to do is either spawn different numbers of fighters and types at different times during the mission. So the mission starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. These guys spawn in. Okay, at 9:45, these guys could spawn in. At 10:15, these guys could spawn in. You know, at 10:45. You know, so on and so forth. What I've actually found is the best thing to do is for me to trigger these guys in at my discretion as the mission maker. by using the radio menu. Okay, so that now leads me on to triggers, which I'll now go through. So first of all, the important thing is when setting groups to spawn in, when I trigger them, the single most important thing is that whatever you set up here, okay, so here I've got a MiG-21 spawn large, I've got 3 units, which is, you know, large considering if I've got a large cap group of 4 guys. So I've got 4 guys on cap, 4 guys on CAS. There's 8 of us. You know, again, they're average. They're the MiG-21s. These guys here. And I've actually set up a specific loadout, air-to-air short range, using R60s. So all they've got is 4 R60s, which are much like the M9s, you know, like a Sidewinder type of thing, just to give my guys a bit of a break, make it, you know, not too hard for them. Again, I've got the waypoints set up 1, 2, 3, 4. So cap, usual weapons free, RTB on bingo fuel or no weapons, and their height, they spawn in at 15,000 feet. Okay, now this is the most important, is the start time. What I do here is I enter the number 1, and that is, it basically means that they're going to start in 24 hours time after 1 day. Okay, so if you, normally that would say 0, and what would actually happen is these guys would spawn in at 9 o'clock. I don't want them to do that. I want me to spawn them in, so you need to put the number 1 there. Otherwise, they won't. They'll just spawn in at the beginning of the game, and you know you'll be flooded with AI. So that's what I've done for all of them. The next group here is a MiG-31 spawn. Again, I've set up a small loadout for them. Again, they're average, and they're spawning in at 22,000 feet, and there's just 2 of them. And then down here, I got another group. They're MiG-29s. Again, they've got an even smaller loadout, just 1 R60M. And again, weapons free, RTB, you know, on bingo fuel and ammo. Okay, so I've got one group setting out at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I've got 3 groups that I'm going to spawn in. Okay, here we go. This is the trigger situation. So the first trigger is going to happen only once, and I'm going to add a radio item to the F10 menu and no event. Okay, there are no conditions for this, so here we go. So the action is radio item add, name, this is what will appear, Lieutenant Harmer only. So that will actually appear on the if anybody presses the F10 menu, it says Lieutenant Harmer only, and it then shows that it's for my use only. Okay, we need a flag number. This is flag number 1, and I need to set that to a value. I'm going to just arbitrarily select that to 10. Okay, so again, I'm adding a radio item for myself. You could put anything else, like, you know, do not use or whatever. Okay, the next thing is to use that radio item to activate bandits. So my next trigger is a once only. It's a group activate and uses no event. Okay, so this is important. The type of condition is flag equals. Flag number 1 equals 10. So if as soon as I hit that menu, it places this condition into the system, and then after the condition, the action is to activate the MiG-25 spawn. Okay, and all I've done is I've just simply cloned these. So the next one is Lieutenant Hammer use only. Actually, did I? Lieutenant Hammer, yeah, I'll put use there. Use only. Okay, so the next one, same thing, but this time the next flag is flag number 2. I've given it an arbitrary value of 20. So next, group activate, flag equals 220. Group activate, this time the MiG-31 spawn. And then lastly, radio item, flag 3, value 30. Again, flag equals 330. Group activate, MiG-21. Okay, so that is, I find, the handiest way of controlling the enemy, rather than, I mean, obviously the other way is to put where are we? Create a trigger zone, but you know, then you have to depend on guys flying into trigger zones, and for me it just gets too complicated. You know, just me spawning them from the radio menu will do the trick. All right, now next I'm going to fly the mission, and we'll see the various aspects of this happening. Before I do, I'm going to go to mission options. This is fairly important. What we're going to do is we're going to be able to see all units, and I'll change that back because with my guys, I'm happy for them to see themselves on their map and friendlies on the map, but they are then unable to view enemy units. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to use all, so everything is everything can be seen, and I'm going to. Okay, first thing is mission has changed, so yes, I do want to save it. I'm not going to bother putting my track IR on and all that sort of stuff, because I'm just going to use F2 to see the various elements. So here's the mission overview. Operation Hercules. Its date is the 3rd of March 2018. It's starting at 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Caucasus. The NATO have gained a foothold on the Novorossiysk Peninsula. The FOB at Novorossiysk Air Base is now operational on a limited basis. A U.S. Naval Carrier Task Force is deployed west of Anapa in support. Russian forces are gathering for offensive operations. ESA 234 Squadron is in support of NATO operations. Comms, the guard channel and the flight set as required. The bullseye is Anapa FOB. Temperature, I mean, basically I do change the weather. I didn't actually go through that, but yeah, I changed the weather from mission to mission just to vary it. So let's start. Okay. And loading is reasonably quick because I've got my DCS on an external high-speed drive. Having said that, I hope that I haven't gone through things too quickly. I have sort of chugged on a fair bit. And I want to keep this video fairly short. So I might cut scene here. Oh no, okay, it's loading in now. From my SSD drive. Air conditioning still chugging away in the background. Okay, so I will take up a slot on. So these are all the available slots for my guys. Yep. Okay, I'll take up a slot on CVN74, slot number 1. Okay. And as you can see, the splash screen in the foreground is showing one of the MiGs. Okay, mission overview. Here, my flight is CAP. This is our Allies flight. Okay, welcome to the Caucasus, which just repeats, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the meat of the... here are our air assets, our naval assets, our utility flights, the logistical notice to all airmen, mission brief, target for today. There we got it. And yep, all that stuff there. Threats, so on and so forth. Fly. Oops. Let me just exit that. Okay, so in order for me to access the menu, I'm just going to switch my radio, my electrical power on. I'm not using my track IR. Okay, so if I go to the external, so here I am on the carrier, and as you can see, already the first group of AI is starting up and getting ready to roll. These are the 2 MiG-23s that are starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so we've tested that element. We know that that element is working. So let me go back in cockpit, and let me now go to the F10 menu, and there you can see our 3 different spawns. Okay, so let's spawn in our first guy. So if we now go to F2, yeah, okay, those are our original MiGs heading out. Okay. Alright, now we've got our 3 MiG-25s. They've spawned in to create a bit of extra mayhem. And obviously, if we go to the F10 menu, we can see them here. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's now spawn in the next group. And you can just see up there. Yeah, you can just see those couple of air to sea rescue guys. Just add in that bit of the helicopters. Just add in that bit of immersion. Okay, F2. Okay, that's spawned in the next group. Again, we'll check our first group of guys that spawned in at 9 o'clock. And here's our 2 MiG-31s, number 1 and 2. Here's our 3 guys that we spawned in, and then let's go back and spawn in the last lot. All right, so we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 MiG-21s, 9, 10. So we've now got 10 aircraft in the air. I'll just go to the F10 map. Okay, and lo and behold, there they all are. 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. Okay, so let me go back here. Now exit and quit. And go back to the mission editor. And there you have it, folks. Okay, I hope that this hasn't been too wordy. I hope that this has been helpful. Basically, not aimed at beginners, but for more intermediate guys. For the guys like myself that and really, I've delved into the scripting and it's just way too much for me. I don't have enough time to spend on all that. All right, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Okay, cheers, bye.